Okay, we got a real sicko right now. Guys, I really hate talking about kids. I really do. Let's watch the clip.
They hate you. You're gonna die. I don't want to do this.
Very disturbing story involving the father of a 9-month-old baby girl. Investigators say that father is charged in her death as well as sexual assault. Just a warning, the details of this case are difficult to hear.
In the early hours of August 24th, 2020, 8-month-old baby Savea would be rushed to the emergency room but would never make it out alive. At around 12:20 a.m. on August 24th, 2020, Harris County District Police responded to a distress call about an unresponsive baby at an apartment on the 15,000 block of West Park Drive. But when investigators arrived, they made a horrifying discovery: a garbage bin filled with bloody baby wipes. The blood on the baby wipes was later confirmed to belong to the father, who gave a deeply disturbing reason he killed his baby in a very shameful manner.
Also developing right now, the man accused of sexually assaulting and murdering his 9-month-old daughter remains in jail tonight.
A judge reviewing the case of 23-year-old Luis Luna today. Some of the allegations in the story you're about to hear are disturbing.
This is the bone-chilling case of Savea Mason. 8-month-old Savea Mason was born on December 7th, 2019, to 27-year-old Luis Luna and Yanis Mason. The couple lived in Houston, Texas. Yanis was described by her family as thoughtful, caring, and full of life. She had an undeniable energy and naturally had a thing for guys who were rough around the edges. A little thugness, covered with tattoos, confidence, and a fearless attitude. Yanis craved the thrill of their raw energy, the way they carried themselves with dominance and mystery. It wasn't just the look for Yanis, it was the danger, the unpredictability, and the feeling of being with someone who lived by his own rules. So it wasn't a surprise when her path crossed with a man who checked all those boxes, a man who would leave a lasting mark on her story. Yanis met 27-year-old Luis Luna, and the two quickly became inseparable. They spent a lot of time together, enjoying each other's company and sharing mischief. She loved the thrill of it all. Their bond was undeniable, but soon, their relationship would take a major turn, one that would change their lives forever. On December 7th, 2019, Yanis and Luna would welcome beautiful baby Savea Mason to the world. Baby Savea was a child with bright, curious eyes and a quiet giggle that filled her mother's heart with warmth. Savea and her mother were inseparable. Yanis embraced motherhood wholeheartedly, dedicating herself to her daughter who quickly became her world. But this newfound joy would open a side of Luis Yanis never knew was there. After the birth of baby Savea, things began to change. The once happy relationship between Yanis and her baby's father, Luis Luna, started to have issues. They began having small disagreements. It's no surprise that having a baby changes everything. Yanis's priorities shifted overnight. Her world was no longer just about her and Luna. Now, she had a tiny, fragile life depending on her for everything. The carefree spontaneity they once shared was replaced by the weight of responsibilities, and before long, their connection simply fizzled out, and nothing could have prepared Yanis for what was about to happen next. You see, Luis wasn't the type of guy who wanted the responsibility of raising a child. The idea of being accountable for another life didn't sit well with him. He enjoyed his freedom, the ability to come and go as he pleased without having to answer to anyone. Also, the financial strain of caring for a baby was something he simply was not ready for. To him, fatherhood felt more like a burden than a blessing, and you can guess. Reality began to set in, and it was just a matter of time before his true feelings began to surface in ways that would soon change everything. So on August 24th, 2020, at 12:20 a.m., Luna would make a frantic call to 911, telling the operator responder that baby Savea was unresponsive. When paramedics got to the apartment, located at the 15,000 block of West Park Drive, they found Luis Luna already standing outside, waiting. Luna appeared disheveled and panicked, or at least that's how it looked. He explained to the paramedics that he had just woken up and found his 8-month-old baby Savea Mason unresponsive. He had no idea why or what had happened. He further said that he had tried CPR on the baby, but nothing worked. The paramedics didn't waste time. They immediately scooped up Savea's tiny, lifeless body and rushed her to the hospital. But the worst would end up happening. When baby Savea got to the hospital, the doctors did all they could to save her, and before anyone had time to hope for a miracle, baby Savea was pronounced dead shortly after arriving at the hospital. A baby gone, just like that. But doctors would reveal a shocking detail, a detail that would set off a chain of events that no one could have imagined. During the course of trying to save Savea's life, doctors found disturbing marks on her body. Remember, this is just an 8-month-old baby. They found her neck was bruised and marks on her wrist, and deep marks were visible on her wrists. The sight was alarming, raising immediate concerns. As part of standard procedure, an autopsy was conducted, but what it revealed was far more horrifying than anyone could have imagined. Savea hadn't just stopped breathing. Something terrifying had happened to her. Baby Savea had died due to asphyxiation, meaning she had been strangled. This was no accident.
To the Harris County Sheriff's Office, those deputies were called out to an apartment complex in the 1500 block of West Park for an unresponsive infant. EMS treated the 9-month-old, but she was later pronounced dead at the hospital. And according to the Sheriff's Office, they say that an autopsy revealed that she had been sexually assaulted and died due to asphyxiation.
With this horrifying revelation, officers turned their attention to Luna. After all, he was her father, and he was the one who made the call for help. But when questioned, Luna stuck to his story. He claimed he had no idea what had happened to his daughter. He simply found her unconscious. However, when police confronted him with the autopsy results, Luna's explanation shifted. What he revealed next would turn the entire investigation on its head. Luna explained that he had put his daughter to sleep in her car seat right next to his air mattress, claiming it was the best he could do. He suggested that he may have fastened the straps too tightly. Maybe that's why she couldn't breathe, suggesting it was just a tragic accident. He even mentioned attempting CPR as if trying to prove he was a concerned father, but something felt off. His tone lacked emotion. He wasn't crying. He wasn't reacting like a grieving father. His answers felt too rehearsed. Investigators couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. Meanwhile, what Luna didn't know was that there was more to the autopsy results than investigators were telling him. They knew Savannah hadn't died from a tight car seat strap. She hadn't died from a tragic accident. They found the most devastating discovery of all, one that no one was prepared for. This tiny, helpless baby girl had been sexually assaulted, and investigators knew that they had to find out who did such a heinous crime to this child and fast. They had just one suspect at the moment, and that was no other than Luis Luna. But would a father commit such a gruesome crime? Investigators' next line of action was to get a search warrant and search Luis Luna's home for any form of evidence. And so, on August 25th, just one day after Savea Mason was pronounced dead, police executed a search warrant at Luna's apartment. The first thing detectives from the Harris County Sheriff's Office noticed was how unlivable the apartment was. He had an air mattress where he slept, and a baby car seat where baby Savea had been sleeping close to him. Investigators didn't have to dig too deep. First, they checked the sunroom, and there, buried inside a garbage bag, they would find something. They found bloody baby wipes, not just one, not just a few, but an entire handful soaked in evidence of the violence the baby had endured.
Officers executed a search warrant on the 25th at the defendant's residence, located bloody baby wipes in a garbage bag in the sunroom where the defendant was sleeping with the complainant. There was no diaper in the bag where the wipes were recovered.
Also, it's alleged scratches found around the baby's neck. Other evidence there too, just a little too disturbing to share with you here on TV.
At that moment, every officer in the room knew this wasn't just a crime scene, it was a nightmare. Surveillance footage from the apartment complex didn't show any intruders, ruling out the possibility of an outsider committing the crime. All signs pointed inward to the man who was supposed to protect her. When police brought Luis Luna in for questioning, he did what every guilty person does. He stuck to his alibi, the same weak excuse he had given at the hospital. He said the car seat straps were too tight. He insisted he would never hurt his daughter. He claimed he had simply woken up and found her like that. Luna had no idea he was moments away from the unexpected. What Luna didn't understand was that forensic evidence doesn't lie, and the moment investigators laid it all out in front of him, The bloodied baby wipes, the autopsy results, the blunt force trauma, Luna shut down. Then the officer leaned forward, looked at Luis Luna dead in the eye, and told him what everyone in that room already knew. You murdered your own daughter. And immediately, Luis Luna was placed in handcuffs, arrested, and charged with capital murder. When Yanis heard about the tragic death of her baby girl and the horrifying way it happened, she was more than just heartbroken. She couldn't understand how the man she once loved, the father of her child, could be capable of such cruelty. But there was one question on everyone's lips. Where is the mother? Where was Yanis when all of this was happening? And this is where the story all ties together. Let's rewind a bit. When Yanis and Luna broke up, Yanis had full custody of baby Savea, while Luna still had visitation rights. The parents had developed a routine for these visits, and on August 21st, 2020, just like every other time, Yanis took Savea to see her father. But this particular visit would turn out to be more than she ever bargained for. Yanis dropped off baby Savea at Luna's apartment, likely believing she was doing the right thing, allowing a father to spend time with his child. She was supposed to return later in the evening and pick up her baby, but Yanis didn't return that night, nor did she return the following day or the day after that. For 3 days, Luna kept Savea with him in his overcrowded, unlivable apartment.
Another aspect of this is that baby's mother. Investigators did interview her. They say that she said she dropped the baby off 3 days prior to her death to spend some time with her father. And they say she told them when she did so, the baby only had a diaper rash. So that's where that investigation stands as far as mother is
This is getting real weird.
concerned.
But there was something even more disturbing. Luna wasn't living alone. He shared that space with 3 other grown men. There was no crib, no baby supplies, no sign that anyone was there, prepared or willing to care for a child. A few weeks after Savea's death, Yanis created a GoFundMe account, asking family, friends, and the community to help raise $8,000 for funeral expenses. As of now, the fundraiser has collected $8,940. In September 2024, 4 years after Luis Luna was charged with capital murder for the death of his 8-month-old daughter, Savea Mason, his trial began.
Luis Luna was scheduled to appear before a judge around 10 o'clock this morning, but according to the judge, they are running behind in the dockets. But this is a horrific case, and looking over some of those court documents, it now shows that Luna is accused of blocking the child's nose with an unknown object. Now, according to the Harris County Sheriff's Office, those deputies were called out to an apartment complex in the 1500 block of West Park for an unresponsive infant. EMS treated the 9-month-old, but she was later pronounced dead at the hospital. And according to the Sheriff's Office, they say that an autopsy revealed that she had been sexually assaulted and died due to asphyxiation.
You gotta be sick.
Homicide investigators say that the baby's father, Luis Luna, is accused of her murder, and he has been charged with capital murder. Again, he is set to appear before a judge this afternoon.
In the courtroom, the evidence was heartbreaking. Prosecutors didn't hold back. They revealed the autopsy results, proving Savea didn't die from a car seat or an accident. She was suffocated during a violent act of abuse. They showed forensic evidence, the bloodied baby wipes, a missing diaper, and signs of struggle, proving what Savea went through in her final moments. Witnesses described Luna as unstable and dangerous. Family members broke down in tears, struggling to express their pain. Savea's mother, Yanis, shared how she felt betrayed by someone she trusted with her daughter. Luis Luna sat in the courtroom without showing any emotion. When it was time for his defense, his lawyers had little to work with, so they did what they could. First, they tried to push the idea that it was an accident. Luna insisted he never meant to hurt his daughter and swore he loved her. He kept repeating the same story, that the car seat straps were too tight, that he had tried to help, that it was all a tragic mistake. But the jury had already seen the evidence and heard the medical examiner's findings. They knew this wasn't an accident, so the defense tried another approach. They argued that Luna's mental health was to blame. They pointed out that he had been in a mental health unit at the time of his arrest. They claimed he wasn't stable enough to stand trial, that he didn't fully understand what was happening, and that maybe he wasn't responsible for his actions. The problem with that argument is that when one takes a look at the details of what Luis Luna did, it's clear this wasn't the act of someone unaware of their actions. It was calculated and intentional. No sane person should have been capable of such cruelty, and no mental health defense could excuse it.
This was a probable cause hearing in magistrate court during which we learned more about the allegations against Luna. Also, what was interesting out of court today is what we didn't learn, and that is Luna's fate as far as bond is concerned. The magistrate judge today opting to save that decision, whether bond should be set, what to do with bond, for a judge in criminal district court. He says that there could be a more expansive hearing there because of the allegations at hand.
Mr. Luna, if you could please stand up.
Luis Luna didn't stand because he wasn't present to do so in the mental health unit, we are told. We did, though, hear what this 23-year-old father is accused of doing to his 9-month-old daughter after midnight the morning of August 24th at the apartment Luna shares with his brothers.
The father of the child, identified as this defendant, was detained
Because, say prosecutors, Luna was the last person to see the girl awake. They say he told officers he awoke to find his daughter unresponsive, says he tried CPR, also said she sleeps in her car seat next to his air mattress.
When he laid her down, he buckled the straps the same way as if she was riding in a vehicle and believed he may have had the straps too tight, and that maybe was what caused her death.
But an autopsy found the baby's asphyxiation to have occurred during a sexual assault. And prosecutors say there's evidence to back that up.
So, on the 10th day of the trial, the jury left the courtroom to deliberate. It didn't take long because this case wasn't complicated. Everyone who had heard the horrifying details of what had happened to that baby girl already knew the truth. And within hours, the jury returned with their verdict. When the verdict was read, it was unanimous. Luis Luna was found guilty of capital murder.
Good.
The judge wasted no time in delivering the sentence: life in prison without the possibility of parole.
Tonight, a 27-year-old father will spend the rest of his life in prison after a jury convicted him today in the killing of his infant daughter.
Luis Luna has been in jail since 2020 after prosecutors say he brutally raped and murdered his infant daughter inside his West Harris County apartment. 8-month-old Savia Mason had been dropped off to spend time with her father, who has always maintained his innocence. But during the investigation, police found bloody baby wipes inside his apartment, and an autopsy revealed that she had been sexually assaulted.
For the community, child advocates, and even strangers who had followed the case, justice felt incomplete. Luna was punished, but the damage had already been done.
Her daughter was brutally murdered, taken from her too early, and so, she didn't get to ever celebrate her first birthday. She didn't get to take her to pre-K, see her take her first steps or any of that stuff. So she missed out on all that stuff because of what this man did.
How difficult are cases like this?
They're difficult because they involve children, and especially a child of this age. I mean, she couldn't walk, she couldn't talk. She had no voice, and so the jury really was the voice for this little girl and spoke for her by its verdict.
The trial lasted 10 days, and the jury reached a verdict within a matter of hours. Since it was a capital case, Luna has been sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
Good.
Many believed Luna had
Sicko.
escaped the harshest possible sentence. In Texas, there is a law called the Super Aggravated Child Abuse Law, which allows for the death penalty in extreme cases like this. Yet Luna was spared. Some were outraged, arguing that if anyone deserved execution, it was him. That a man capable of such cruelty shouldn't get to keep breathing. But others saw it differently. To them, death was too easy. They believed he deserved to spend the rest of his life in a prison cell, forced to live with the weight of what he had done. And then, another question surfaced. Should Yanis Mason have faced charges? No matter how much sympathy people had for her, one question kept coming up: should she have been held responsible too? People argued that she left her daughter with a man who had no job, no stability. She didn't check on her baby for 3 days. But others pushed back. They said she was a grieving mother, not a criminal, that she trusted Luna after all. He was her father, and she had no way of knowing what he was capable of. That blaming her was cruel, and that all the focus should stay on the real monster, the one who actually committed the heinous crime. Now remember, the GoFundMe that Yanis started for baby Savia? That sparked another debate. Why wasn't life insurance set up for her? After all, baby life insurance can cost as little as $3 a month, less than a cup of coffee. If $3 a month could have prevented the need for a GoFundMe, why wasn't it done? Some people were outraged, believing the fundraiser was a way to profit from a preventable tragedy. They argued that instead of taking responsibility, it was easier to ask for donations. But others defended Yanis, saying no parent expects to bury their child. Most don't even think about life insurance for a baby. To them, this wasn't about money. It was about a mother who lost everything. And at the end of the day, no amount of money can bring Savea back. What are your thoughts on this case?
They hate you. You're gonna die. I don't want to do this.